So as mentioned, I'm Jennifer King from Lung Cancer Alliance. I'm the Director of Science and Research. So I sit at an interesting point where I'm a scientist, but I also take calls on the patient helpline. So I see a lot of things from different perspectives. And today I was really thinking about, it's the first day of Lung Cancer Awareness Month. When we're thinking about research advances, what's the future of research? What messages do we need to be getting out during Lung Cancer Awareness Month? What research does everyone need to be aware about? And how do we turn around and tell people about those things, get people excited about lung cancer research during this time when you may be telling your neighbor it's Lung Cancer Awareness Month, or putting up the Facebook frame that says Lung Cancer Awareness Month on your picture. So going into that, I think Dr. Hirsch set us up really nicely with a lot of the science that I think has been really critical in the past couple months. But the first thing is the awareness around lung cancer screening, right? Lung cancer screening does exist today. It is a covered preventative service, at least for now, and we're not going to get into healthcare. But lung cancer screening can actually make a difference. It can shift the stage of cancer that people are diagnosed with from late stage advanced cancer to earlier stage cancer. I was at a talk at the AACR meeting in April by Dr. Bert Vogelstein from Johns Hopkins, who's a very renowned cancer researcher, and he made a point that I loved, where he very tongue-in-cheek said, "I'm one of the world's leading experts of curing cancer in mice," which is true. And he said, we find the tumors in mice when they are very small relative to a tumor in a person. So we don't think that all of the pharmaceutical companies, all of the people doing treatment research should be threatened in any way by early detection. It doesn't compete. If we find the tumors earlier, those new drugs, those new therapies, those new treatments are only going to work better. And we also have the option of many of the surgical advances that were already talked about. So early detection is really key, and we need to get the awareness messages out about how important it is and how important it is to implement now, but also that we need more research to really correctly refine it, because I've spoken to patients who are in this room who said, I had a family history. I think that's important. Why isn't that in the risk criteria? We need to do more refinement of the risk criteria, as well as look at biomarker research and other types of research that can help refine who really is truly at high risk. So that's first. Second, I think one of the biggest points for Lung Cancer Awareness Month is that there is so much hope and so much has changed. I like to put up a slide that says it's a whole new world, with, for those who are Disney aficionados, with Jasmine and Aladdin, because it really is a whole new world. In the last 3 years, we've seen so many new drug approvals. It's been unheard of. Since I started at LCA 2.5 years ago, there's been 21 relevant FDA approvals to lung cancer. That's just a whole new world, to be quite honest. Now, many of those things are targeted therapies for which we need molecular testing, and I completely agree with the points that have been made earlier about how important it is to get molecular testing, and how, yes, many of the major academic centers are doing this really well, but that's not happening out in the community everywhere, and we need to make sure to get these messages out and the awareness out that there are new treatments, and if you get the right kinds of tests, that these treatments might be right for you. As an example, if you are a patient who's diagnosed with metastatic non-small cell lung cancer, now instead of going on chemotherapy, you could potentially go on chemotherapy, a new targeted therapy, or an immunotherapy as a first choice in your treatment, first line. But it depends on the results of that testing, and people aren't getting those tests, and we need more research on the testing, but we also need a lot of awareness about how the research has changed the treatment space. I've talked to some oncologists in Kentucky who've told me that in their community, if someone's told they might have lung cancer, they don't even go see the oncologist, because so many people in their family may have died from it, and they just, it's not worth it. I should go home and spend time with my family instead of seeing the oncologist. That is not where we are today, and that message needs to be out there for everyone. Research is changing things. Along with molecular testing, I think that the message of hope just carries through. Dr. Hirsch showed one of my favorite slides of the year, which is the the phase 1 study of nivolumab that Dr. Bramer showed earlier this year, both at AACR and IASLC. And what it was when it showed that 16% survival rate in a population that probably had a less than 1% chance of survival at 5 years. That was 16%. That trial, the point that's not made from that trial in a lot of talks is that it was a phase 1 trial. Phase 1 trials are usually to find the correct dose of the drug. They're not actually intended to have that kind of survival effect. They're really, the goal of the trial is to find a dose. So to have that kind of meaningful difference in this type of trial means that there's so much promise for, if we can learn how to use the treatments correctly, what we could really do to help our community and how these drugs, and as mentioned, the very burgeoning space of combinations with these drugs, can move forward. And to that, my final point is really that I think there needs to be much more awareness, and Lung Cancer Awareness Month is as good a month as ever to spread it on lung cancer survivorship. I've been to some survivorship meetings. There's no one talking about lung cancer at those meetings. Lung cancer historically has had a very poor survival rate, but that's changing. We have early detection. We have new drugs. We need to start thinking about, and we had some mention of that earlier, but really need to start thinking about the effects on the patients with lung cancer and the potential psychosocial problems as well as physical problems that they may be experiencing as they move into survivorship. And so I'll almost end there, except I'm really excited to hear from the speaker after me. So I want to make one point is that often when I write for our community, I get questions back that says, that's great, except everything you've talked about has been in non-small cell lung cancer. What about small cell lung cancer? It's a very common question, and so I feel like there the message also needs to get out that these research advances are coming there too. And we were just having meetings, I was in meetings literally this morning talking about potential drugs that could be approved in small cell in 2018 and 2019. The research is coming everywhere, and our community needs to know that they should be talking about lung cancer and talking about it in this hopeful way that encourages even more research and brings more advances to the community.